We have tried so many different chore charts and behavior systems over the last decade. And honestly, I'm just as bad at staying on top of them as the kids are. But I think we have finally found a system that works for all of us. So let's put these kids to work. As you all know, I have 4 kids. One that is with us full time, one that's with us half times, and then the 2 girls that kind of just are here and there when they so choose. At first it was a struggle trying to find a system that worked for all the different visitation schedules. And I'm one that fully believes that if you want the same privileges and treatments as the one that's here 24/7, then you have to follow the same rules. Now, at first when my son was younger and it was just him and I, then we had the behavior jars. Mind you, this is when he was like 3 and 4, so chores weren't really implemented yet. But we could work on his behavior. So we had a good jar and a bad jar, and inside of them had either privileges or consequences. Now, if he was doing something above and beyond, whether he was using manners really well or being super nice or whatever you can do at the age 3 and 4, basically just going above and beyond, then he would be able to choose a privilege from the good jar. Now, the flip side of that, if he had attitude, talking back, anything like that, then I would tell him to go grab something out of the bad jar. Privileges were stuff like extra screen time, couple extra minutes to stay up at bedtime, or along those lines. And then the consequences, of course, were like early bedtime, no TV today, no game today, that kind of stuff. So these are the good and bad jars. So we have the good ones that says way to go. Mind you, he was only like 3 and 4 at this time, so had to make it aesthetically to where he would understand it. Please don't judge my nails. We're still in lockdown here. But so within these jars you would get things like no chores today, extra hour of bedtime movie, extra half hour of bedtime movie, adventure day plan. And that would be like we would go to a pool or a park or something extra that he could choose what to do. 1 extra hour of Netflix, extra money for piggy bank, extra half hour to stay up at bedtime. And then the bad jar just said like, uh-oh, and had like sad faces and that kind of stuff, so that he understood, since he couldn't read, he understood which one was which. This one had like no Xbox, 1 hour in your room, no TV, no bedtime movie, no Netflix, no screens at all, early bedtime, time out, time to think, no bedtime snack. So there's only so many like consequences you can do for a 3-year-old, but these ones are ones that really hit home to him. So he definitely did not want to have to choose out of the bad jar. Now, this system surprisingly worked really well for that age group. And when I would tell him to go grab something from the good jar, he was so pumped, and like it kind of motivated him to be on like a better behavior throughout the day. Then when he got a bit older and was able to do some chores and his love of electronics started, I started this chore chart. Now, this had chores on clips and they were assigned to time. So he could sweep the floor for an extra 15 minutes or wash the windows for an extra 20 minutes. Oh, I should say, I was limiting his screen time to only an hour a day. So by doing these chores, he could add an extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatnot, to his screen time. Now, he could only choose a maximum of 2 per day, and he had to use them all up before I would refill the board. This kind of stopped him from doing the easiest chore every day and racking up the point, or the time, right? This also worked really well, although it was really big and kind of awkward. Like, we had nowhere to store it or keep it, really. So we kind of just put it off leaning against the wall. I feel like if it was out more, we were able to display it more and like we were seeing it, it wasn't so much out of sight, out of mind, it probably would have worked a lot better. We tried a few other ones throughout the years, and then the kids came into our lives and we developed another one that suited everybody. And then the visitation frequency switched up. So then we had to keep altering it and whatnot. But I think we have finally honed in on something that does work for everybody and every situation. So first we have my son's everyday chore chart. Completing this chart is part of his phone contract and point system, which I'll talk about in just a couple minutes. But if he misses any chores on this list, or he tries to like half-ass them, then he will lose points. Now I call them chore charts, but they're really just helping get them into a proper daily routine. So it's like waking up, brushing your teeth, make your bed, eat your breakfast, that kind of stuff. And then there is a daily chore on top of it. Like my son feeds the dogs every day. That's his daily chore. However, if they want to earn more money, they can always do extra chore sticks. Now these chore sticks, I believe, could work for any age. Of course, you would like restrict what the chore is depending on the age. I actually learned this trick from Jordan Page. I will link her channel down below. She is a mom of 8. All of her kids are under the age of 10, and she is a superhero. She is like the true inspiration of like the perfect mom. If the kids want to earn extra money, they have to do chores. They have to do extra chores. So they will reach into the jar and grab out a stick. They cannot see what the chore says ahead of time, and they cannot replace the stick. Once they pull the stick, that's the chore they have to do. It could be something as simple as washing the windows or sweeping the floor, or it could be something like picking up dog poop. Once that chore is completed, they will put that stick into their bank, and then they can decide whether they want to save up or cash out at any time. Say they want to just keep saving up and we're starting to run out of chore sticks. What I'll do is just write like a little IOU and stick that in the bank and then put the chore sticks back into the jar. They can do as many chore sticks in a day as they want. So this was the setup at our old house, our command center, so to speak. It had everybody's chore charts with their bank on top of it, as well as the container with all the chore sticks and an extra bank. I didn't really talk about that. That was just extra money they could earn on top of everything else. But then I also had this calendar where they had to sign off every day that they had completed their entire chore chart. And then also we would keep a running total on that of how much that was in their bank. Instead of counting the sticks every time, or if they had earned extra money, that kind of stuff, we just kept a running total on this calendar. Summertime, they do have different chore charts just because I don't want them staring at a screen all day. So it is things like go outside, do some activities, do some exercise, ride a bike, anything like that. Each child has to do a minimum of 2 chore charts, 2 chore sticks every day during the summer. And then, like I said, if they want to do more, they're more than welcome to. The girls also have charts for whenever they decide to stay over. Doesn't really happen, but they do have the charts, again, just getting into the proper routine of taking care of themselves and that kind of stuff. When Nate found out about Carson's system, he asked for one of his own. Now, he still had to follow the same steps, like making his bed, brushing his teeth, washing his face, that kind of stuff, but he didn't have an actual chart to follow. Nate's chart is a little different just because he's not here every day, so he doesn't have to do stuff like put his backpack away, do his homework, that kind of stuff. But on the days that he does sleep over and it's not just a visiting day, he does have to follow the same routine. And he doesn't have a set daily chore just because it is sporadic on the days that we have him and stuff. I can't dedicate one chore to him and then that chore not be done on the times that he's not here. So when he is here, then we will just give him a chore to do that day. That will be considered his daily chore, so he doesn't get money for it. But then if he wants to do extra chores on top of it, then he can do more sticks. That's the thing with these chore charts, they don't gain an allowance by doing them just because these are the basic necessities of life and living in the house. Now let's talk about the phone contract. I never believed a child should have a phone before they could pay for it. I will absolutely shamefully eat my words right now, because I was one of those people, I was judging people who gave their kids a phone before the age of 12. Then I became one of those moms. And it was really just more for my peace of mind. Him having the phone was for my peace of mind, not his entertainment. It's a scary world out there. His phone plan isn't anything special. He can call and text, that's it. He has no data or anything like that. But he still has to work for it. It's not free. At the time that I got him this phone and we planned all this stuff out, he was also struggling really bad in school. So this was also a way to keep track of him, staying on top of his schoolwork and all that stuff. It kind of just killed two birds with one stone. So the phone contract is basically just a list of general rules that pertain specifically to the phone. We do have the passwords, all of his passwords for everything, and if he ever tried to change them, he would lose his privileges to the phone. So this is the phone contract, and I even had him sign it, and it hangs right next to his chore chart in his room. It just has things on it. It says if I get any bad calls from his teacher, he will lose his phone until further notice. If he cannot be responsible with internet safety, he is not responsible enough to have a phone, and he will lose it until further notice. The phone is not to be used as a toy. You have plenty of toys. Don't get lazy. Phone calls are only for emergencies, because he will call me from his room just to ask me a question. No, get off your butt and come ask me your question. Bad attitudes can lose your phone. Bad grades will lose your phone. If you break it, you will have to pay for it to get fixed. And if you get down to 0 points on your point system, you will lose your phone until you get your points back. And then it just says, by signing this paper, you are admitting that you understand all of these rules and understand that if any of these rules are broken, you will follow the consequences. That doesn't really make sense now that I'm reading it. Now I know this was all extra steps. I really didn't have to go through this, but I just wanted him to know that I was serious and I was firm, and this, having a phone is a big responsibility. If you want to be treated and respected as a grown child, then you have to act like it. So then the point system. This was created more to have him pull up his socks at school and work on his talking back. That's really the biggest problem we have with him. I'm not gonna lie, we have pretty great kids for the most part, but honestly, there's no child that's perfect. Basically how it goes is that he has 10 points, and things throughout the day will make him lose points. And if he gets down to 0 points, then his phone is mine until he can earn all his points back. And his points will roll over every day. So if at the end of the day he has 6 points, that next day he starts with only 6 points. Now if all the things on his chore chart get done and he has no bad attitude all day and he does all his schoolwork, basically has a perfect day, he'll earn all his points back. He'll go right back to number 10. So some things that will make him lose his points, not writing in his agenda, that was a school thing, 1 point. Missing any morning chores would be 1 point. Missing any night chores would be 1 point. Forgetting any part of your homework, 5 points. Arguing, talking back, bad attitude, etc. We will decide how many points you lose. Meaning, if he's having an attitude or he's doing something wrong or whatever, then we'll just be you know what? We're taking 2 points. We're taking 3 points, whatever the case is, depending on what he's doing. Obviously, I wasn't going to go and list everything, but that was the basic general synopsis of it. Basically, at the end of the day, he fills out his chore chart. As he's going, he fills out his chore chart. And at the end of the day, when he's getting ready for bed, me or my husband will go over it with him, make sure that he did everything that he said he did or that he's supposed to do. And as long as it is all done, and again, he had a good day at school and that kind of stuff, then whatever points he has, he writes it in his calendar. So say the only thing he did today was forgot to write in his agenda, then he is down to 9 points. So he would write in his calendar 9. Following day, he would start with 9. And again, if he forgot his agenda again, he would be down to 8. Or if he forgot any of his chores, he would lose another point or another 2, or so on and so forth, right? But again, if he has a perfect day, he can earn all his points back. It's very easy, very simple system, And honestly, I think he's only lost his phone one time. Like, he's only lost all of his points one time. Again, having that visual, like having the chore chart and the point system and everything, like literally on his wall in his room, and it's not out of sight, out of mind, it's right there. It does give him more motivation. And again, losing his phone is giving him motivation to actually do his schoolwork and his chores every day. I feel like without rewards, they don't really care to not follow the rules, but don't really care to do the chores, or don't really care to follow routines, that kind of stuff. So I've learned personally for my kids that seeing a reward or seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, having a reason to do these things, they are more motivated to do it. And now they're all preteens and teens. All they care about is money. So they're more willing to do extra chores. Of course, if it's something like the other day, I asked my son to empty the dishwasher. That wasn't one of those things where, like, they don't turn around and be like, oh, well, how much money am I going to make for it? No. But there are times where I'm like, hey, buddy, can you do this? I'll throw you $5 or $2 or whatever. Especially to Nate, because he was really saving up for a Nintendo Switch for a while. So this system works for my family. Obviously, you have to do whatever works for your family, but I hope that this helped you kind of have some sort of idea. Like I said, we've gone through so many chore charts and behavior systems over the years, and again, I know I'm just as bad as the kids on staying on top of them, but I feel like if you are working on a system that doesn't work for you guys, you're more likely to fail at doing that system, if that makes sense. So now that this one works for everybody, it is easier to stay on top of. So hopefully that gave you some sort of ideas if you are looking at a way to incorporate chores or even a behavior system with your kids. Like I said, you're gonna have to adjust it to fit your family. And of course, everything's new and exciting in the beginning. It's sticking with it. That's the hard part. So if this is the kind of content that you enjoy, mummy hacks, or even I do Cricut tutorials, wedding planning, Disney planning, anything like that, basically a walking Pinterest board. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and become part of the squad. And if this helped you out at all, please give this video a big thumbs up. It really is a free way that you can help support me and my channel. As always, guys, do all the things, have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Pause. Ugh. And like, oh, no, I'm not gonna say that. What's the word? Any sort of, what is the word I'm thinking of?